Hi, welcome to this edition of On Fire. I'm John Holland, Public Education Specialist for the Oshkosh Fire Department, and joining us today is our new Chief, Chief Mike Stanley. Thanks for being on, Chief, and welcome.
Me, John. Appreciate it.
All right, what made you in Aurora, Colorado, think I want to be the Chief of the Oshkosh Fire Department?
You know, John, quite honestly, what it was is, as I saw the job posting and was initially looking at that, what jumped out at me was the motto of the fire department, which is "Be nice." You know, that really resonated with me. It's something I believe is a fundamental value for the fire services, that we need to be nice to each other, nice to the people that we interact with. So I started doing some more research to find out, is that just words on paper, or is that something that we live by? And really what I found was it is something that this department and the members of this department live by and honor. And I said, I want to be a part of that. You know, I want to be a part of a culture that values being nice and that wants to be viewed as being nice in the community.
All right, what about Oshkosh itself? Was there anything when you looked at the city, the surrounding area, that made you think, you know, that might be a great place to live?
You know what I've told everybody is I was really looking for a Goldilocks scenario. You know, that not too big, not too small, had to be just right. You know, and my wife and I wanted to find a community that was a community where we could live, work, and play, and that, you know, we could become involved in. And it wasn't so small that you didn't have any of the resources, but it wasn't so big that you got lost in all the people. You know, so the small town feel, you know, was really appealing to us. That, you know, when my wife came out on my second trip out here, she said, you know, everyone is just so genuinely friendly and nice, and that's really what we wanted. That we wanted to be connected to a community at this point in our lives where the kids are moved out of the house, and, you know, we have more time to be involved and to do volunteer work and do things like that. So that was really the feel of the community was the right fit for us.
It's fantastic. Yeah, and Oshkosh is a pretty great place. I've lived here all my life, and I remember growing up it was, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's not going to be here. And I am so glad that I am here, and that you're here. All right, so speaking of your wife, your family, how are you fitting into Oshkosh? Is it what you've expected?
You know, it's all that we've expected and more. That this past week has been the Air Ventures out at EAA. You know, so we had the opportunity to go out and see the air show and see some of those things. And you know, as the planes were flying overhead and, you know, all the people were out there, my wife turned to me and said, "I love our new home." You know, they really love where we live. So the more that we've been able to be involved and to meet people and to take advantage of, you know, so many of the different opportunities that are here to be out in the community, like the farmers market and concerts and things like that, that, you know, we really are loving it. You know, that, you know, it's didn't take us long to realize this is home.
That's good to hear. It's great to hear. All right, so now back to your skills and expertise. What experience do you bring to the Oshkosh Fire Department?
So I spent the past almost 22 years working for the Aurora Fire Department, which is right next door to Denver. You know, large fire department, 15 stations, about 370,000 people we were servicing. So had
All right, as you may have noticed, our background changed a little bit here. Right in the middle of the interview, we got a call. The rescue that was our backdrop had to head on out. So we have a new backdrop here. So what we're going to do next, Chief, we were talking about you fitting into Oshkosh, settling into Oshkosh. What do you like to do besides be fire chief?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm very passionate about and always have been, is I really like football. And when you ask the question about how are you fitting in and, you know, what do you like about Oshkosh, there's really only one complaint that I have, and that's the Broncos don't play here. That's, you know, huge Denver Bronco fan, which I know won't endear me to the Packers fans here, but I said, you know, Green Bay's not a bad second team to have. So I'll have to learn to love them, but not ever as much as the Broncos. So love football, you know, love to partake in the arts and entertainment, you know, go to the concerts and the different theater things like that. And I also like to travel, like to read, like to snowshoe in the winter, which I think I'll have plenty of opportunity to do that coming up. So that's basically what we like to do in our spare time.
Yeah. All right. And Vikings should be your number 2 team, just so you know. I'm a Viking fan, so I get the animosity as well. So anyway.
Well, my understanding is Vikings are everybody's number 2 team, that they're always second to everybody else. So
I wish I could argue with you on that one. All right. Now that you made me cry. No, okay. So now we talked about your personal life and how you're settling into Oshkosh, why you're here. What do you bring to the Oshkosh Fire Department? I know you've been in the fire service for a long, long time, but what skills are you bringing to the Oshkosh Fire Department?
Yeah, I've was spent the past 22 years in the Aurora Fire Department. The Aurora is right next to Denver. Large-sized department, 15 stations, servicing about 375,000 people. So I was very fortunate to spend time there, working my way through the ranks as a firefighter, a paramedic, a company officer, a chief. So bring that experience, and also been very blessed throughout my 25 years in emergency services to get to travel around the country and travel around the world, consulting and teaching and learning about what are some of those best practices and different techniques of how we can improve, and seeing how other departments do it. So I bring a lot of that experience along with my formal education and some of the different opportunities that I've had to this department, so that we can look at what are we doing well, what could we do better, so that we can continue to evolve and continue to implement some of those best practices that I mentioned.
So you mentioned so we can get better, which we always want to do. We think we're pretty good, but of course we know we can always get better. Do you have any goals as far as, I know you've been here a month, but something that you see that where we could definitely get better, just goals for the department?
Yeah, that keeping up with the times is always going to be a challenge, for all aspects of life. As technology evolves so quickly, how do we stay up with that, whether it's using a piece of software or true technological advantage, or how does technology change what we do with the new developments of self-driving cars and different things like that, where it's going to change how we respond and what we're going to have to be trained to do. Hybrid vehicles, for example, was a big issue in the fire service that we had to prepare for, because they're different than what we've prepared and trained for in the past. So always sticking with the evolving technologies that are out there, the evolving technologies in protective equipment, things that can keep our firefighters safe, things that can keep our community safe. That's always an area that we're going to have to be trying to stay up with. There's a lot of concerns about mental health in the fire service. There's a lot of concerns in the evolving research about cancer in the fire service, that frighteningly those 2 items are becoming the leading killers of our firefighters across the country. So we want to make sure that we're doing all we can to protect our assets that we have here in this department of our people. So we'll always be striving to do that. And then as the community's need changes, as the population ages, as we have a larger influx of immigrants and refugees and non-English speaking citizens or community members, that how do we continue to service them? How do we always progress so that we're meeting that need and filling that gap? And really my goal for the fire department is that we're constantly trying to put ourselves out of business and constantly reinventing ourselves. That we've done a lot of work over the years with fire prevention, and we've seen the numbers that reflect our successes in that. What's the next thing that we tackle? And then we tackle that, we've put our efforts towards it, we see that we've made a difference, we've reduced that risk, now we're going to find the next risk to the community and address that, and continually try to put ourselves out of business, but continually reinvent ourselves at the same time.
So, kind of piggybacking on to some of your last comments, what opportunities are out there for the people in our community with the fire department?
I think we have a lot of opportunities to collaborate, and further our relationships. There's so many different organizations out there that are doing good things in the community, but many times we're the gateway to them. That when people are in need, they call 911, and the first people they're going to see are members of public safety, whether it's the Oshkosh Police Department or frequently the Oshkosh Fire Department. So being able to connect them to resources of your house may not be on fire, you may not be having a heart attack or have been in a car wreck, but we're who you call because you need help. And being able to connect them to all these different myriad of resources that are out there in the city and in our community and the county and the state, that we can be kind of the gatekeeper and the clearinghouse for that information of, we can help you find an answer. We're going to help you solve your problems, not just for the immediate right now, but for the longer term, so that we mitigate the emergency, but we also impact your life. And that's really, I think, where a lot of our opportunities lie, in doing more and more education, and like I said, partnering, so that when we're out there having access to the public, not only in the emergency setting, but in our prevention work, that's using the trust and credibility that we have within the community already to introduce other agencies into that as well and partner.
And we did something like that this morning. We had the United weigh in, and they explained a little bit more about 211 and how that was a resource after the emergency, or sometimes even during the emergency. And it's something that most people aren't aware of, to be honest. I wasn't. I knew it was out there, but other than that, that's pretty much what I knew. So we're certainly doing that. Okay, here's a tough one, two-parter. What can the people of Oshkosh expect from you as a fire chief and just as Mike Stanley?
Sure. I think those interrelate very closely. And as I've met with all of the command staff here in the fire department, with all the members of the fire department, I've been very consistent in my messaging of what they can expect from me. And it's the same thing that the community can expect. That you can expect me to be very transparent. That we don't have anything to hide. In fact, we've got a lot of things we want to show you. But if the community has questions about, this isn't my fire department, it isn't our fire department, this is the community's fire department. That these are their fire stations, their fire engines, their firefighters. So we want to be transparent, let them know this is why we do the things we do. This is how we operate, and answer the questions that they may have. So I'll be very transparent in all the interactions. The other thing that you can count on me for is to be service oriented. I believe very much in, we are in this business to serve. That initially what got me interested in becoming a firefighter and a paramedic was I wanted to help people. And now I don't get to help people so much on the highway or in their living room, but I get to help the people that help people. So if we have an opportunity to help somebody, we're going to do it. And that's the direction that I've given the members of the fire department, which they didn't need, they already do it. But we've reinforced that messaging of, if you're given the opportunity to help, I expect you to help, and we'll support that 100%.
You talked about us serving and helping and whatever. In the month that you've been here, what do you think is the best part of the Oshkosh Fire Department? What are you most proud of right now?
That it hasn't changed from when I started looking at the department to the interview process, my first day and my first month. And I mentioned it earlier of that, unequivocally, I will say over and over again, the best resource we have here is not our fire stations, it's not our ambulances and fire engines, and the best resource that we have here is our people. And the people here, not only are they nice, they're well trained, that they're service oriented, that they're doing everything they can to help out in the community. And you see that as a priority, like in our backdrop changing. That a call came in, there's no greater priority than getting the firefighters on that fire engine, getting them out to that emergency to help, to mitigate, to intervene. So what's best about this department, what's best about this department that I'm proud of, that the community should be proud of the people that wear this uniform. That they do a fantastic job, and in the short time I've been here, I have seen already firsthand a number of instances where we had an opportunity to go above and beyond, and we did. If you followed our social media, you've seen that we've been recognizing our firefighters, the things that they're doing not only on duty but off duty, that 24/7, 365 days a year, they believe they're here to help. And so just because it's not the day that they wear this uniform or that they ride around in the big red ambulance, if they see an opportunity to help, they do. And that makes all the difference. That's what caused me to move across the country and want to be a part of this team, was that we care about people.
I would have to agree. Our people, we have a lot of great little rescue toys here, but it is our people that are amazing, and they do a great job. Well, Chief Stanley, that is all I have for you today. Thank you very much for being on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good luck in the future. Thank you for joining us this week on Fire, and I thank you again to Chief Mike Stanley. We hope to see you next time. Until then, be safe.